We're here today at the Extraordinary Futures Conference in Vancouver. I'm sitting down with Dakota Sullivan. Dakota's an officer with Nutritional High. He's also the president of Calyx. Dakota, thank you very much for your time.
Absolutely.
Great. Why don't we start off by you telling our audience a little breakdown on Nutritional High, the focus, and what you guys do.
Sure. Nutritional High is a multi-state extractor manufacturer and distributor in the United States. So we have extraction manufacturing operations in Oregon, Colorado, Washington, Nevada, and we're opening manufacturing in California this fall. In addition, we have distribution in wholesale distribution in Nevada and California. And in California, Calyx Brands is our distribution platform, and I'm founder CEO of Calyx Brands. We're the largest edible distributor in California, and we're one of the top distributors overall statewide.
What about your team? Can you maybe comment a little bit on the team you guys have put together? I know you guys have a very strong background, so maybe you can tell our audience a little bit about that.
Absolutely. We have a terrific team across Calyx. A lot of folks from the wine and spirits industry in particular have joined us. Our CFO comes from CFO gigs at some of the larger wineries. And then within Calyx, within our distribution business, we just hired a gentleman named Ken Young. And Ken comes from Young's Market, and he was also most recently VP of Operations for Carvana. So, we try to find folks who bring the right combination of deep understanding of cannabis, but also real-world experience in, CPG, pharmaceutical, wine and spirits.
Now, I know you mentioned a little bit about the focus of the company. You mentioned a number of different states. Being an MSO focused in the U.S., what are some of the scalability challenges that you guys are coming across, or what do you see?
Well, really, it's difficult to talk about the U.S. as a blanket because every state is so different. So, for example, in Nevada, we are closing the acquisition of Green Therapeutics, which again is a manufacturer, an extractor, and owner of brands in Nevada. Their products are distributed already to 80% of the dispensaries in Nevada. However, in Colorado, the regulations are different, and we have our own brand in Colorado, but we have to use a third-party distributor in that state. So really the biggest challenge as an MSO, a multi-state MSO we face, is needing to essentially be a different company in every state.
Can you maybe comment a little bit on some of the recent milestones?
Yeah, absolutely. So again, we are opening manufacturing in California this fall in a facility in Sacramento. And in Nevada, again, we're closing that acquisition, which will give us access to the Nevada market, a large footprint. And in addition to being able to distribute the brands that are already being manufactured at Green Therapeutics, this gives us an opportunity to bring in Nutritional High's brands into Nevada, which is something we're also doing right now in Oregon and in California. The other big milestone, I guess, for us is that the distribution business in California is a platform to distribute Nutritional High's brands, but we're equally a distribution partner for third parties. So we currently distribute 18 brands in addition to Nutritional High's manufactured brands. And I think we're kind of at the early stages of a significant evolution in the distribution model starting in California, and we're one of the leading players in that movement.
Dakota, speaking of brands, I know you mentioned you've got a number of brands already under your wing, umbrella. How do you guys go about picking these brands? What's the right brand? Like, what do you look for when you're aligning yourself as a company with a brand?
That's a great question. I think as a distributor, as a third-party distributor, there's such an integrated partnership between the distributor and the manufacturer that we have to really align on a number of levels. Every distributor is different. Some prefer to work in a more with more boutique brands where they can provide a ton of attention and very specific kind of hand-holding. Our focus really is on brands that are moving from large scale to giant scale. So for example, we're the distributor for Plus Products, which is the number one edible in California. We've worked with them since 2015. And their mission was simply, to become the number one edible. So it's all about scale for them. And the other brands, we recently announced a partnership with Punch Edibles. We're working with Guild Extract, and we're just launching St. Ides Blunts. And that's the first cannabis product from the legendary St. Ides brand, which is malt liquor. So these are all brands that are moving from large scale to mass, and that's really our expertise. So we look to make sure that we're aligned with the objectives of the brand on kind of multiple levels.
What do you feel about the scalability of these brands, and why don't you comment a little bit about that?
Sure. So I think the needs of brands with respect to how they enter the channel and engage with consumers is changing. So I think the role of a distributor is to be able to provide data from the field directly to the brands so that they can adjust their products to meet consumers' needs as they expand. And I think also importantly, Neil, distribution historically has been kind of a monolithic concept. You hire a distributor, it's a full service relationship. We've seen that change radically in the past couple of years with the emergence of some of the lower cost delivery only companies. And I think now the distributors are at a space where we need to evolve our models to become more a la carte so that brands can get exactly the services they need in the markets they need at the prices they need. And so this is an important step forward I think that we're all taking right now.
Dakota, I know you mentioned Plus Products. Our audience is probably familiar. I had a great chance to visit their facility in California early in February. Great experience talking to the team out there, seeing how they come up with these products, the R&D that goes behind it. Being in this space, what actually brought you into this space? What drives you? And what's your background?
So my background prior to cannabis is in tech. So I ran tech companies for 15 years. And had a couple of nice exits, took a couple of companies public, and then was sort of bitten by the cannabis bug, and have been in this since 2014. And I think at this point, what drives me and what drives our company is, distribution is a powerful force, and I think one of the trends we're seeing, Neil, that's really important is a number of the leading brands, particularly in California, have self-distributed because until now that's been really the most cost-effective way, and for them to both reach the penetrate the channel, reach the market, and also control their own brand. But today there are approximately 600 licensed dispensaries in California, but we're moving toward a place where by next year there could be 1,000, there could be 3,000 licensed dispensaries in California within just a few years. There's a scale at which it becomes virtually impossible for brands to self-distribute. So I think what drives us really is making sure that we're building the best partner for major brands to be able to help them penetrate the channel and continue the move forward to become a large part of the economy.
Being at Extraordinary Futures, I'm going to ask you a little out of the box question. What actually, or where do you see the industry, not just in California, but worldwide heading, and what excites you?
Well, I think really the future of cannabis is to become boring. If you look at, I saw a poll recently of kind of sub-millennials, people who are under 25, and their attitudes toward THC and CBD, cannabis overall. And I think that younger generations are just accepting cannabis as just a normal part of their lives. And no big fuss about it. It's always been legal for them. And I think that this is where cannabis belongs in our lives. It's just, it brings a whole plethora of different benefits. And I think more it can become just another normal substance that we have in all of our lives, the better we'll all be off. The better we'll all be.
Dakota, I know we've touched on a number of different topics. I'm quite excited to see the growth of the company, the industry as a whole. Again, you've provided us with some really good insight on the cannabis industry completely. And we look forward to sitting down with you again, watching the company grow, and hopefully doing another interview soon.
Absolutely.